Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I was doing great until I went to Taco Bell and got home. We'll have an expectation versus reality later on that. Like, I got up relatively decently early this morning, took a shower, started worrying about my husband. He has a headache. He gets migraines. Um, so he's in the living room. I locked the door, so hopefully he won't be coming in all naked and stuff because he ain't dressed. He is not dressed yet. Hopefully that will remind him that he cannot come in here right now. If he was not indecent, I wouldn't care, but not having that on my live stream. So he's in the living room trying to sleep it off. He took his meds. He does have meds for his migraines. He took his meds. He took some caffeine. He took some other meds. So said he's a little better. I fed him some Taco Bell. So because I went shopping this morning, so I always get I don't want to have to come home. If I come home and put everything away and then have to also fix myself something to eat, it takes too long. And I end up getting sorry, there's stuff on my screen. Um, I end up getting behind where I want to be and I can't. Because I like to have a few minutes to like chillax for just a few minutes before I start. All right. Oh, I know what I forgot. I am so silly. We do have an opening segment. Woohoo! So, um, I gotta look that up. There's a thing on liberal versus conservative and how they make their decisions. I think I might have mentioned that before, but I gotta look it up and find that article. All right, but we do have a reality roundup today. I know you're shocked. It's Tuesday and we have a reality roundup. That's because I did it on Friday, so we'll see how it goes. And it's Balin Out Loud, and it's entitled "In British Accent." In British accent. Okay, so they're still on the plane. Colin is still stressing out, but everyone else is sleeping. I think Balin took some meds to sleep. Maybe Colin needs to look into that, especially if they're going to travel at all. And he says he'd drive to the UK if he could. Don't think that's currently possible. Now, talking head Balin says that Colin usually makes her anxiety better, but that's not happening. And Colin very politely apologizes. He's like, "I'm so sorry." Like, sweetie, it's not your fault, not really. Uh, Not like a Cody apology, a real apology. So they landed safely, and Colin is obviously relieved to be back on the ground. Balin has anxiety because the airport is new for her, and she's nervous about her ticks. So she gets anxiety about her ticks, and then she ticks, and then she gets anxiety about ticking, and then she ticks some more. Sounds like a vicious circle. Poor girl. So they booked a rental house so they could all be together, and that seems reasonable for the amount of people they have in their group because they have the three boys, they have the parents, so that's five, and then they have Colin and Balin and the grandma. That's eight people. They have eight people in their party. Once you get above like seven or eight people, you really need, especially if like married couples and stuff, hotels aren't going to cut it, really. So her brother Sven says as soon as we step foot in London, the cluelessness hits, and he's not wrong. They're having problems with the tube. The tube is what Londoners call their subway. Vic says her other brother. Vic says he was airport ready, but not London ready. They're very cute. They're very cute boys. Colin asks Alan how long they have to ride on the train, and he answers, "Oh, I forgot to mention they had trouble getting on the subway, like pushing buttons to keep the doors open, which I probably shouldn't be doing. You can. I'm like, there's going to be another subway around in a couple minutes." Okay, so Colin asks Alan how long they have to ride on the train, and he answers 3 worries. 3 hours. 3 hours. No worries. They were joking. They're just going to Paddington. like the bear, and no one makes that joke. Losers. Uh, the Heathrow Express takes just 15 minutes to get to Paddington. It's a typical big C bus station. They have to go up the stairs and back down the stairs, get on another train, and then they have a long walk. And the house looks really nice from the outside, really cool. But they can't get into it because they're having issues with the locks. Then they go in, and the house looks nice. Like, this is a nice house. They chose very well. There's a piano, there's a pool table, the microwave is in the pantry. So they're going to relax for the rest of the day, which is understandable. And Alan says they have a double decker bus tour for the next morning. Um, shouldn't Balin's appointment be on day two? Like, I would want to have as much, if they're going to test out this thing for her, I would want as much time as possible to put it into action, you know? Or are they not going to let her take it anyway? um, Beckner says he's experienced jet lag before while traveling in the same time zone. He is not happy about the snacks provided in the house, and he's confused by the outlets because they use a different. It's ACDC, and I don't know which one's which. To be honest, I'm not that smart about that stuff. But we use, I I think we use alternating current. So we used AC, and they use direct current, which is DC, or that's reversed. But I'm pretty sure we use alternating. Don't quote me on that, though. I could be completely wrong. um, I'm wondering if no one warned him that he was on a different continent. Day two is Balin's appointment's on day four. Oh no. So they get on the bus and the tour guide is bald. And you know how Balin gets with bald people. She's gotta point it out every time. He's greeting each touree, and I think touree should be a word. Touree, people going on a tour. I think it's called tourist, but that's not right because this is a tour that they're going on. He seems really nice, and Balin's ticks are really bad. Colin thinks King Charles is the only king in the world. For the record, there are at least 18 kings reigning right at the moment. Not to mention like dictators and emperors and other people that are the same as kings. There's several more monarchies, I should say. Like I said, Balin's ticks are bad, and she hurts herself while there's a metal bar in front of their seat, and she karate chops it, and she hurt herself. And I don't think this was the best time to schedule this tour. Plus, it's long. A full loop, I looked it up, it can take 1 to 2.5 hours. Balin hurts herself again by hitting herself, and Colin tells her to hit him instead. This is how he deals with her self-destructive hitting ticks. She doesn't do it a lot, so she must be really under distress. Um, Poor Balin. She likes the tour guide and sights, but can't enjoy the experience because her ticks are so bad. And I don't understand why they're staying on the bus. This is a hop on, hop off tour bus. So you can get on, you have like all day. I actually have up to 3 days to hop on the bus. He tells jokes or whatever while you're driving around. And then you can get off the bus to go see something. So they could get off and take a short break, but I don't know why they're not doing that. When they get done, Balin is pretty done sightseeing for the day and just wants a picture with Big Ben and then to go back to the rental. So everyone splits up. Colin and Balin head to Big Ben. Grandma Candy takes the boys off to find some ice cream, and Julie and Alan stay on the bridge to wait for everyone. And then they have a long, boring conversation. I didn't write down. Colin asked Balin if she'd get on the Eye, which is their Ferris wheel. And she says, absolutely not. And I could totally relate to that. I do not do Ferris wheels. But that one's enclosed, so I think I'd actually try it, even though I hate Ferris wheels. I've gone up in like needles and stuff, and that's fine. But you're all enclosed. And I go on high buildings, and that's fine. So as long as I'm enclosed and there's no chance of me falling out of the thing, I'm pretty sure I'd be okay. Like a trolley, or a tram, I would probably be okay with a tram. Day 3 in London, the family goes to catch the eye, but Colin and Balin opt out because Balin's not going on that. So they're catching a cab to help them uh, to catch up with them later. Colin figured out an app to use to call the cab. He's not dumb. Colin's not dumb. They're going to a pub for lunch, and Colin and Balin admit to being picky eaters, but at least they're up for trying new things sometimes. So, and other than curry, English food is not known for being all that. So I think they'd be fine either. Anyway, there's not that much really new stuff. It's just constituted in a different way sometimes. Although, blood pudding is a thing. So they're doing a talking head, and suddenly both of them like look up to the side like this. And apparently someone's peeing in a pipe nearby. Like, that should not be happening anywhere, okay? But it's those experiences that make travel worth it. 'Cause now they'll have that for the rest of their lives. She warns the driver about her Tourette's, and he assures her that she is in good company. And he says it in the most caring and kind way. I can't even describe it. He just seems like the best guy. If he's not married to somebody, scoop this guy up. He says, "There's nothing that you're going to say or do to me that ain't been seen or heard before." Don't be so sure, buddy. She can turn a phrase. He tells him to relax, and in a talking head, he says he's familiar with Tourette's and he has ADHD himself, and it's not a problem because why should it be? Exactly. Why should it be? Colin's attempt at a British accent is hilariously atrocious. No, no, Colin, don't even try anymore. Balin is spot on when she's ticking, but not when she has to think about it. It's not as good. Balin complains there are a lot of bald people in the UK, and the driver says she's not wrong. He's also been agreeing with the "you're bald" comments. She'll say, "You're bald," and he'll go, "Yep, they are," which is exactly what Balin needs. Colin does that a lot too. The driver says the UK does not have a monopoly on bald people, and that cracks Balin up. So she's relaxing and getting along with this guy. The driver says he's really never noticed many bald people until today. They live amongst us. And now he says he's gonna keep a lookout for him and probably start counting them. And I just hope this doesn't become a hyper focus for him because that would be the worst hyper focus on earth. She says her mom told her to work on this particular tick and she didn't because she didn't think it would be necessary. And the driver says he's glad she didn't because he's entertained. She yells out, "Bald bitch." He says, "I like that." Colin again brings up having a baby, and Balin is not having it, but she does agree to have a conversation about it in the future, maybe when they get back. So back to the boys. Vic says he's an adventurous eater, and Beckner says he stays in his own food lane. So they're at the pub, and she's ticking pretty bad because there's a lot of people around. She explains to the waiter at the pub that she has Tourette's. She asks him about some menu items like spotted dick, and she says she wants to try a beer for the first time. And he tells her to order a light lager, but they have an alpaca IPA, so of course she wants to try that one. It's literally an IPA named alpaca. Beckner asks about vinegar on the fish and chips, and is assured it comes on the side, so that's nice. And they're complaining about a guy that notices Balin's ticking. Honestly, he doesn't seem all that bad to me. He's kind of giggling to his friend a little bit. He might not even be talking about them, but he is like looking at them, and they're bothered by it. And that's about the end of that. So that's all I got for that. This was only, why is it not telling me how many pages I'm on here? This was only 6 pages as opposed to Sister Wives last week. That was 12. That was twice as long. More than twice as long, actually. All right. I guess we'll get into entitled people. So this is, oh, I have my thing over here because I moved it. What's it called? Um, from entitled people, entitled condo developer ignored HOA rules. Judge ordered demolition of a $2.2 million complex duplex. Sorry. Developer will likely have to relocate the buyers he sold to. $2.2 million duplex. So in Fishers, Indiana, in 2021, the Water's Edge HOA established a rule saying houses had to be 20 feet apart. In 2023, MHM Investment Group decided to build a duplex on the lot they own, but they wanted it bigger than allowed, so they just built a duplex and sold both the units. The HOA noticed and a court battle ensued. The developer argued that HOA rules didn't apply because they were entitled to build the largest building the city was okay with. They knew the HOA rules and agreed to them when buying the property. But shrinking the two units by 300 square feet would generate lower sales price, so they tried the hope nobody notices and ask forgiveness if caught route. Sometimes that doesn't work out so well, people. The developer was caught as soon as the foundation was poured in 2023. The HOA told him to stop. The developer filed a lawsuit and continued to build. Okay, now he's just an idiot. Oh, I didn't turn my light on. That's what's wrong. There we go. Oh, geez. Okay, now we're adjusted. On November 24th, the builder, okay, November 24th, probably, I assume, of last year, 2025. The judge ordered the builder to pay $75,000 in fee and demolish the $2.2 million waterfront property. His strategy of ignoring the HOA and suing them to get his way got him a master's in ethology. I think that's F-A-ology. Ethology. Normally I'm against HOAs, but I dislike rich, arrogant developers more. He knew the rules, but he felt entitled to bigger profit, so ignored them. Creative Crab says, honestly, this is one of the rare times that an HOA is the good guy. The developer didn't misunderstand anything. He didn't. He did this on purpose. He did it on purpose. He knew what he was doing. He gambled that money and arrogance would let him steamroll the rules everyone else follows. Instead, he got a $75,000 bill, a demo order, and a masterclass in consequences. Yeah, this would be also an own no consequences one. Next, we have What Should I Do? Entitled Girlfriend Moved In and Now I Catch Her Watching Me Sleep at Night. This doesn't feel normal. And this is an update. So, and he actually had it. Thankfully, thank you, guy. Oh, he deleted the original. Okay. I do believe we reread this, though. And the update says, I need a sanity check because this is starting to mess with my head. I'm 24 male and my girlfriend is 26 female. We've been together. Oh, this is the original. Okay. We've been together a year and a half. She moved in with me 2 months ago, and ever since then, my sleep has been trash. A few times now, I've woken up in the middle of the night, and she's just sitting there watching me sleep, like fully awake, staring, no phone, no TV, just watching me. The first time, I thought I was half dreaming and brushed it off, and then it happened. Then it kept happening. Last night was the worst. I woke up. She was leaning on her hand, just looking at me, smirking with wide eyes, and I felt my stomach drop. When I confront her about it, she acts like it never happened. She claims she doesn't remember doing it at all and almost shrugs it off. No real concern, no urgency to figure out why she's doing it. She even suggests I might be imagining things, which honestly pissed me off because I know what I saw. This only started after she moved in, and somehow I'm supposed to accept that it's some deep red flag, a control thing, or something else. But my gut is telling me something is wrong. And I believe something is wrong there. Maybe she's sleepwatching. Maybe I swear we've read this before, but anyway, he made an update and he deleted it. But thanks to Ancient Meat Hook, we have the We have the update. Says, okay, everybody that's coming to the update and sees it's deleted. Basically, he put on a camera, laid there for a while, dozed off, woke up to use the bathroom, saw her staring at him, turned the lights, turned on the lights to ask what she's doing. She just stared at him for a moment with her mouth open before she full body lunged at him. He managed to restrain her and she eventually had a meltdown and broke down crying before being taken away to the psychiatric ward. Yikes. Oh, that's terrible. So she was having a psychotic break. So my holiday aside, which obviously post is gone now. What happened? And somebody answered, "He's dead." She took guy's identity. No. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, that's really odd. I don't know about that one, guys. I don't even know what to say. Next, we have malicious compliance entitled Holly Jolly Malicious Compliance. Perhaps 8 years ago, I went to New York City to watch the lighting of the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. We were all being corralled onto the sidewalk, and the only way you could see what was happening was on these big screens. I tried to walk into one particular corral and was told I couldn't bring my backpack with me. There were tons of people there carrying shopping bags, so I asked if I could just carry it by my side the same way. Nope. Cue malicious compliance. There was a store right next to the corral that sounds like Santana Free Public. So I popped in. Don't know what that would be. If anybody has an idea, let me know in the chat. So I popped in and found a nice but generic sweater that I knew I would be able to use someday. Asked for the biggest bag possible for what was a relatively small piece of clothing. Once outside, I slipped the sweater into my backpack and my backpack into the shopping bag and moseyed onto the corral. The view sucked, but the look on the corral monitor's face was golden. Yep, there are ways around things. Jumping Spider says, reminds me of the time I turned my backpack, which was banned, into a satchel, which was apparently acceptable, by unthreading the lower end of each strap and then tying the two together into one strap, which I could wear over my shoulder. Molly Brow Spinster says, MacGyver. Cunius Maximus says, MacGruber. Oh. Ishpeming native said, my brother-in-law went to a restaurant where he was refused entry because he didn't wear a tie. Solution, unthreaded a shoelace and created a tie from it. Maybe he had heard that from somebody else. Maybe it was just inspired. Money is on the ladder, but I know my brother-in-law better than you. Yep, they let him in. Can't remember the guy, but it's someone really famous. My mind wants to say Feynman, but I don't know who that is. But it's somebody at least that big of a deal and feels something Feynman might do. Feynman, Feynman. I don't know. He was staying at a hotel and the hotel had a restaurant. They wouldn't let him in no matter how famous he was because he wasn't wearing a suit. Next night he shows up wearing a suit. They let him in and show him to a table. He takes all of his clothes off, he's in his socks and shoes, and tell the waiter to serve the suit because that matters more to them than the person wearing clothes. Then he walks out, starkers, and back to his room. Oh. I know a guy that was refused entry to a fancy nightclub for not having a tie. So he went back to his car and got a jumper lead and fashioned it into a tie. And then he went back in the dorm and said, okay, you can come in, but don't start anything. I found out, Stalker of the Dead says, I found out during my last year of junior high that I was a legend among the teachers. Backpacks were not allowed, but purses were. So I used a mini backpack to carry my library books and pencils around. Dear Honey says backpacks are sometimes banned because people forget how far back they project and sometimes turn while too close to something fragile and hit it. Satchels don't have this problem. Jumping Spider says Satchels have a different problem of swinging wide when people turn swiftly and also potentially hitting something fragile. I personally have been accidentally hit by more satchels than backpacks, but I also understand that the sample size of one person isn't statistically significant to anybody other than that one person. A person who understands anecdote does not equal data. I like that. I like that a lot. Mrs. Weaver says, I think this was my kids' teacher. Pretty sure one of them had a Mrs. Weaver. My dad, brother, and I went to an NFL game in Buffalo, New York. I didn't bring a bag because I didn't want to deal with a purse. I just stuffed things in my jacket pockets. My brother had a pair of binoculars in a case. The case was literally the shape of the nose, only slightly bigger. No pockets or anything, maybe 8 inches by 6 inches by 4 inches with a hinged attached top. We get to the gate and some guard tells my brother he can't take the case in, only the binoculars. My brother gets his ticket from my dad and gets ready to go walk all the way back to the car to stash the case. I ask the guard if I'm allowed to take a purse with me, and she says yes in a kind of tone because she can see I don't have a purse. I took the case from my brother, handed him the binoculars, and put all my shit in my pockets in the case and put the strap over my shoulder. She starts saying something, but I cut her off and said I could have a purse. She said it couldn't be, you didn't say it couldn't be ugly. She rolled her eyes, but let us in. People can be so clever because we're people, because we be people. Next, we have AITAH, entitled AITAH, for telling my wife that I will lose respect for her if she doesn't apologize. My wife and I have 3 kids. Thursday, my wife was helping our 9-year-old with her homework. She was supposed to fill in a chart with times tables. The year I missed in school. That was a hectic day. Our 4-year-old threw up, and I was trying to clean him up. My wife was having trouble getting our 9-year-old to focus on what she was doing because she kept looking at me. Our 9-year-old hates math and is pretty bad at it, which annoys my wife, who is usually fantastic at math. My wife asked her daughter what was 7 times 7. Our daughter said she didn't know. My wife kept telling her to try and think of any answer. She kept saying she didn't know. My wife was getting frustrated. Her daughter finally said, yes, 637. My wife said close, 47. Our 13-year-old then said, no, Mom, it's 49. And she's right, it is 47 times 7 is 49. My wife snapped at that point and told him to shut up and go upstairs. Oh, not cool. Not cool. Your son is correcting you because you're wrong. You don't get mad and send them, you don't punish somebody for correcting you when you need to be corrected. Even if you're an adult. He said he went into the backyard instead. She took a deep breath and went into our room. I finished with our 4-year-old and then went outside. I tried to talk to him, but he didn't want to listen. He kept saying, but Dad, 7 times 7 is 49. I told him his mom just got frustrated and didn't mean to yell at him. She should not be taking her frustration out on him. He did nothing wrong. She kept insisting that 7 times 7 was 49, which I'm aware of, so I got nowhere. I went back inside to talk to my wife, and she said she knew she shouldn't have yelled. Good, she's acknowledging. She said because she was frustrated because he was distracting her, and that's why she made the mistake. How was he distracting you, ma'am? He hadn't said anything up to this point. I pointed out that she made the mistake before he said anything. So she started crying and asked why I was being so critical. He's not being, well, he is being critical because you need criticism sometimes. I apologized and told her I loved her. We hugged it out, but then I asked if she was going to apologize to our 13-year-old, and she said no, because he shouldn't have interrupted her. Yes, he should have. You were wrong. You can teach your kid's going to go back to school and get it wrong on a test because you told her the wrong thing. That's not fair. She said he was rude and needed to learn to not interrupt. You're rude and need to learn your times tables, ma'am. I told her it's not okay to tell him to shut up. We went back and forth, and finally she said, I won't be able to respect her as much if she doesn't apologize, and that really hurt her. She said she needed space. She hasn't said a word to me or him since Thursday. I know what I said was harsh, but I can't respect someone who won't apologize when they make a mistake. Am I the a-hole? My sister says I am because I'm not being supportive, and our 13-year-old is a lot. So if he gets to support his wife, who was in the wrong, or he gets to support his kid, who was correct, which one do you think deserves the support? Update. My wife got up before our alarms and started cleaning our bathroom. I started the laundry and made breakfast. She didn't say a word when she sat down to eat. She ate much faster than normal. She stood up, picked up our 4-year-old, and told our 9-year-old to get ready because they were going to the library. She didn't say anything to our 13-year-old. What the heck, lady? I told her we needed to talk, and she shook her head. I followed her upstairs and insisted that we talk. She kept shaking her head. She went to our 4-year-old's room and locked the door. I went downstairs and told our 13-year-old and 9-year-old that we were going to the dog park. They both asked if mine was okay, and I said yes, and she needed space. I grabbed some clothes for our 9-year-old from the laundry room. She got changed in the downstairs bathroom. We are at the dog park, and my wife is refusing to answer my texts. I'm starting to think this isn't about math. Yeah, you may be right. Burrito Bowl says she hasn't spoken to her son in 3 days, and she was in the wrong. Ouch. Beautiful Monster says, I just realized it's been 3 days. What the hell? That's even worse. Yes, it is. And Neat Committee says, I think we've discovered why he doesn't like being home much. I wonder how much she has been acting like this towards this kid. Because that would explain some of his behavior. She's acting like this towards him. Future Stan says, way more respect has been lost. A grown ass adult holding a grudge against their own child. Pathetic, embarrassing, cringe. I don't even think I could get her for all of that. She's she's acting terrible. I don't know what her deal is. Distinct Mood says, I was a career teacher. I had a banner above my whiteboard that said, mistakes are to learn from. I taught my students to own their mistakes and look to them as learning experiences. Some of my most memorable moments as a teacher occurred because of mistakes, mine and students. Yes, I always owned my mistakes. It's a real pain in the butt when teachers do not own their mistakes. My son pointed out something to his 6th grade teacher. Hold on, my battery's on for some reason. Oh crap. Oh, I know why. 'Cause I left my thing out there. So I guess I'm gonna take a break and go get my charger, which I left in the living room, unbeknownst to me. Thought this was charging the whole time. So I'll be right back and we'll go on to our next read. All right. Sorry about that. Things happen sometimes. All right. Yeah, because I'm forgetful. I had that in the living room because that's where I do all my other work other than the stream itself. And I forgot I brought the computer back in on Friday or Sunday. No, it was probably Sunday because I was talking to my BFF while I was working on the week stuff. Um and then I forgot to bring in the I brought the laptop back in, but I forgot to bring back the power cord. I'm a moron. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay. Uh Next we have benign existence, and it's entitled gas station moment. I was in a gas station trying to get the lid off my travel mug to put coffee in it. I was stuck and I was sad. There was a man standing near me, and without saying anything, he held the mug out. I held the mug out to him. Without saying anything, he opened it and handed it back. I did a thanks nod. And he did a no problem nod. It was pretty much the highlight of my year. This is how people should act. This is how people should act. Like if you see somebody struggling, help them. It's not that hard. uh, Michael Dolph says, I was sitting on a ferry after a day's hard hiking. I couldn't get my walking pole to telescope scope down. Sat there trying to close it, quietly trying to close it. A man sitting a little way away stood up, ready to disembark, held out his hand, took my pole, closed it. He'd obviously been also quietly watching my struggle. Cheers to the quiet observers. um, my cat is meowing so loud, says, and once I a girl drop her ID under a wooden deck ramp with very little clearance to retrieve it, maybe 4 inches. But I did have a litter grab stick in my van and promptly helped her save her ID. And we were both out of state, so we agreed that it would not be good to lose an ID then. It felt awesome to help her. Yeah, exactly. Just like last week when I told you about the helping that guy at Aldi. I did my random act of kindness for the day. Next, we have evil buildings, and this is Chaoyang, probably Chaoyang, Park Plaza in Beijing. It's cool. I don't know, evil. I think it looks cool. I don't think that looked evil, but that's just me. You may have a different interpretation, and that's okay. Different interpretations are fine. Architect SMB says, "Beautiful building. Maybe it should be in the show foundation." Um, Alex and Dr. James says, "Yeah, this doesn't look evil or creepy to me at all. It's actually pretty stunning." I agree. It's a beautiful building. Wish that we had more of those. Now we have Just No Mel. Husband and mother-in-law had a major blow up. Just as the title says, my husband had a huge fight with his mother. Somehow my calm and usually soft-spoken husband was yelling and cursing at his mother over the phone. Just years of pent-up rage pouring out of him. Our marriage has been suffering because we both knew he needed to set boundaries with her when it came to our family. But we also knew that any little bit of pushback from anyone results in a nuclear reaction. So we're both just sitting there simmering in a situation where we didn't know what to do. We were between a rock and a hard place when it comes to his mother, because both he and his mother have permanent guardianship of his nephew. That's a pretty weird situation for both of them to have permanent guardianship. Usually it's the grandmother or the uncle, not both. We have been raising that boy as our own son for the last couple of years and have been intimately involved in his life the moment we we've been the ones there for our boy. She is there when she wants. Of course she is. Why does she have guardianship at all? So a few days out of the month, she will call up and say she wants him. Doesn't matter what we plan because she has legal right to him. During that phone call where my husband was adamant we wanted the boy at home because we are his parents and want to spend time with him, she tried to scare him by saying that just because we have permanent guardianship doesn't mean it's permanent, so we could lose him. How? A lot of hurtful things were said, and she ended up calling the call saying, "I guess we'll just be in contact about son's name and nothing else." Once again, discarding my husband when he doesn't bend to her will. We've been together nearly 20 years, and only seen him cry a handful of times, each time because of her. He got off the phone and started sobbing. Something in me broke. The last year, I have refused to be the one interacting with her. Now that I see that she has no desire to have a relationship with her son beyond how she can manipulate him, I'll be the one handling her. Because there ain't no way she can manipulate me or scare me with her false narratives. I'm more than happy to be that bitch she thinks I am. And there is an update. Update. So this was 23, 5 days later. 5 days later. I can't do it. Shh. Don't tell anybody. I used to have to do their checks and add them up and stuff. Don't tell them I can't do math. Right before Christmas, my husband and Mill got into a huge argument over the phone. Lots of yelling, lots of cursing, very abnormal behavior for my husband, expected behavior for my mother in law. In all honesty, that incident completely changed how I look at the relationship between them. Before I understood it as a technical point, my husband is physically unable to stand up to her because of all the years of emotional abuse from her. It's pretty long, guys. For the first time, my husband is for the first time I emphasized with him and truly saw how terrible of a position he is to have someone who can be downright from this point on, I am the manager. Sometimes women can handle women easier than your son can, you know. So I decided from this point on, I am the manager and HR of this household. And if someone can't follow the rules, I will be the one handling them. She can't hurt me. I'm not scared of her, and I will find a way to fire to fire her ass if need be. We're still going through the motions of child rearing and family life around the holidays when he got a text from his mother asking if we were going to their family's Christmas together. He wanted to give an outright no because he's so over her, but knows that that means we'll have to choose to fight about whether or not she can get her youngest son for the situation with our biological nephew discussed in previous posts to the sub. I could tell he wanted to do the easiest thing of just moving on, going to the event, and just grin and bear it. I let him know that we already opened Pandora's box and we're going to deal with the fallout one way or another, that I wouldn't tolerate her behavior towards him and I'll talk to her. He ended up texting, "Why do you ask?" because he was under the impression that we weren't on speaking terms. Her response was, "Because of my grandkids." I recognize she's once again treating us as access to our children parents and her daughter-in-law and son. I ended up crafting a message on his behalf saying, "I've heard from the last conversation. I'm not up to making commitments at the moment. I'm not ready to talk because of how it went last time, but my wife is willing to hear you out on my behalf." I went to his phone call with two goals. First, to get her to apologize to my husband for wind up behavior. Second, to recognize that we are the parents in this situation and expect to be respected as such. I put myself back into manager mode, sat down at my desk, got out a notebook and pencil, and wrote down, "Get that apology for my husband, and she will respect us as the parents." Literally looked at the situation as calling an angry customer. After a brief moment of silence, my goal was always to get the other party talking. She said she wasn't really sure what she was supposed to be talking about, and then immediately managed to go into a tirade of how mistreated she is and how she feels mistreated and hated. Don't be hateful. Simple. Don't be hateful. And don't mistreat other people. It was 15 minutes shy of an hour-long phone call. So it was a 45-minute phone call. That's all you had to say. Most of it letting me get her, most of me letting her get it all out so it would be in the room for her to listen. And listen she did. I reminded her that even though my husband should have stepped up earlier and confronted her on her undermining us as parents, it was not a fair expectation for him. He has lived a lifetime of being in a position where if anyone or anyone else tells her something she doesn't like, she explodes. She yells, she screams, and she calls you all sorts of nasty names. Then to just then pretend and deny it ever happened that way. That way. I can't we can't expect him to communicate freely when he has been punished so severely time and time again. So I offered her an opportunity to apologize to my husband. I told her that when my husband texted, "Why do you ask?" it was her opportunity to apologize for her behavior. She decided once again to say that she wants access to her kids and not us. That's not how that works, ma'am. That is not how that works. We're not doing that anymore. You don't get to undermine us and behave badly and get access to our kids. In our household, we own up to our wrongdoings and apologize. An apology isn't an excuse of your bad behavior, but acknowledging how that action wronged the other person and a promise of changed behavior. Can't just say what you did is wrong and move on. To rebuild a relationship, you have to make that promise that you'll do better. By the end, she was crying and saying she didn't want to apologize. I'm sure my I said I'm sure my husband would appreciate that. Oh, she did want to. Okay, sorry, I misread that. Start over. By the end of it, she was crying and said that she did want to apologize. I said that I'm sure my husband would appreciate that, and I'll let her think on her apology and have him call her. I managed to get him to make that phone call on Christmas, even though he was afraid she might have changed her mind and doubled down on her belief that all of her outbursts are justified. She took what I said seriously and gave what is probably the only sincere apology in her life to her son. Good for you, OP. She didn't make any excuses. She owned up to she owned up that making everyone walk out on eggshells around her doesn't allow us to be the parents we need to be for our kids. She wants to be in our lives as a grandmother and be part of our support system rather than another stressor. She will start communicating with us more and respecting our wisdom when it comes to our kids. She did better than I expected. I'm real hopeful that this is the beginning of sincere change. I'm sure I'll have to continue holding our boundaries, but at the very least, I hope it means my husband will be able to um, speak up and get his mother to listen. Cool, 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 cool. Oh, there was an original one. I guess we're missing that. I'm not going back and doing that. I think we got enough of what we need. It's very strange. Why do I have two of those? All right. Whatever. We're going on to petty revenge. It's entitled, That Is My PTO. The company I work for allowed two people per work team to be out on PTO at a time. Anyone else would be put on a waiting list. They also awarded PTO by seniority, meaning if three people wanted that day off, then the two who had been with the company the longest would get it. They hired a ton of people and decided to go with the first request for get 1 year to that everyone would get an equal chance at PTO. Sentence made no sense, and I read it directly. Cue my coworker, who was a non-practicing Jew. She requested all the Jewish holidays off along with all the Christian holidays. You can't have both, dude. One or the other. Come on. Since she was the first request, she got them all. Wouldn't trade as a single one, although many people on the team had very young children and would certainly have used PTO around Easter and Christmas. So the next year PTO starts, and five of us decide to come in bright and early the day PTO opens for requests. This is a silly way to do it. This is silly. You're doing a whole year of PTO. People have things that they don't expect to have. And holidays should be 1 year you work, 1 year you don't if you have to work holidays. And you should only have to work holidays if you absolutely have to have somebody there on holidays. We proceeded to put in requests for every single Christian and Jewish holiday rotating who would get it, and the third person would be waitlisted. We also took summer holidays and put in for some Mondays and Fridays off for long weekends. See, I have stuff that crops up on the weekends. Like, this would not work for me. I cannot plan my whole year out ahead of time. Sorry. Coworker arrives at her usual 9 a.m. start time and is upset to see that all of the holidays and summer weekends were not available for her. Throws a toddler tantrum about it going to HR. We all got put into a meeting about that, but in the end, there was nothing anyone could do because we followed the rules. She always requests trades, and nobody would trade with her. The following year, they put in a rule that if you had a specific holiday off the year before, you couldn't have it again the year following year. Okay, that's fair. Five of us reviewed the PTO used for the year before and put in for the following year following that rule. Coworker once again got nothing good. That is some petty revenge. Starby Nutter says she played a selfish game and won the proper prize. Wide Donut says, as a non practicing Jew, she could have played a shellfish game. Terrano is acting that way is just not kosher. Uh, C for Dream says, your coworker sucks. That being said, your work's vacation policies suck far worse. Confused you, but says, sounds like healthcare that's similar to how my workplace is, but people are willing to discuss major holiday PTO because they don't hate each other. Well, she shouldn't make people hate her, you know? Next we have Am I the Jerk? And it was removed. So, you know what that means. We got to go looking for something. Hmm. I don't see it on this list. There it is. I found it. We'll go back to it November 1. Okay. Am I the jerk? AITJ for not giving my cousin a job at my company after he lied on his resume. No, you're not entitled to a job at your just because you're alive. I, 33 male, work as a hiring manager at a mid-sized marketing firm. My cousin, Evan, 24 male, recently applied for a junior position. He told me he had a degree and a year of agency experience. During screening, HR flagged inconsistencies. Turns out he never graduated and exaggerated his previous role. It happens sometimes. I called him privately and he admitted it, but said, come on, it's family, just push it through. No, absolutely not. You freaking lied. I told him I couldn't do that and I'd risk my own job. And he said I was a corporate sellout who forgot where I came from. Now my aunt and mom are furious with me for humiliating him. AITJ. He humiliated himself. And that's not even a humiliation. That's just you're not getting the job because you lied on your resume. If you don't want to get called out for lying on your resume, don't lie on your resume. Iris Watcher says, you should tell your mom and aunt that HR already flagged his resume and that they would be happier if you were also unemployed because you tried to push it through when they already know he's lying. Debsha says, and don't forget, if you become unemployed because of him, would they financially support you? After all, family supports family. Yeah, no, they would not. They would not. Oh, it's time for expectation versus reality. And after the little spiel segment, I got my own for today. This says going through a lot health wise and decided to treat myself and my fam to some homemade Christmas cookies, but instead I got not really what I was expecting. It felt too good to be true, but I was trying to be hopeful. Sometimes works out and some don't. So this is what they were going for. The little bear cookie is super cute. Love it. My daughter was able to do that so well, and I would not. We should be doing that's what we could do. My daughter and I could make the same it would be bad and hers would be perfect. Oh, look at the little gingerbread guys. They're cute too. Those are neat little trees. This is a lovely box, by the way. I love this. I want these cookies. So Christmas Coke Bakis are here. Looking for the oh, she bought them. She didn't even make them herself. She bought them. $30. That's a lot of cookie for $30. Classic gingerbread men, snickerdoodles, meringue trees, white chocolate and peppermint dipped cocoa cookies, Christmas macarons, sugar cookies, buckeyes, peanut brittle, iced oatmeal cookies, peppermint bark, Grinch cookies, Christmas pinwheel cookies, and Danish butter cookies. That's a lot of cookies for 30 bucks. Like a lot of cookies for 30 bucks. Like, is there only one of each? Because that would be one of each would be like a $30. Even that would be $30. If you got one of those each, you could pay more than $30 easy for that. And assume this is what they got. Well, that doesn't show me anything. I mean, it's probably worth $30, dude. Yeah, that's $30 worth of cookies. Are they as cute as the other ones? No, but I mean, the Santa hat's cute. Truffles, it's got snickerdoodles, it's got chocolate chips. Really a deal for $30. It's not that bad. It is not that bad, in my opinion, knowing what um, things like that cost. Baked goods cost a lot of money. Past Cauliflower says her cookie box photo content was stolen from Shell Sweets, and somebody else agreed. um, green Green as a green ass says, uh, somebody asked where they could buy them, and she says, "This kind of cookie box is not practical to sell for retail. The amount of money you have to charge for this kind of effort is just prohibitive. Customers don't want to pay hundreds of dollars for cookies." Exactly. Because that, I told you that was not a $30 box of cookies. Cardamom Girl says, long ago in my mid 20s, I decided to save money by giving a home baked cookie boxes. I started mixing dough on Thanksgiving Day, filled the freezer with about a dozen caramel dipped chocolate covered pretzels because I saw an ad for them in Chex Mix for some savory. I also know that if you actually put all the cookies in the same box like that, they'll taste the same in 3 days. Happens way faster than you think. So I made individual bags for each thing and tied them with a ribbon. Then they didn't look good in boxes, so I bought baskets. And the baskets overflowed. So I bought rainbow cellophane to wrap them in and tie them with more ribbon. That's the story of the most expensive and exhausting Christmas of my life. I mean, that crap looked and tasted amazing. And I was like prom queen for at least a couple of weeks into January while everyone ate through their loot. But that was the first and last time I ever did that nonsense. Decades pre cell phone, so I don't even have a picture to remember them by. Wow. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. Yeah, but I mean, she did get her money's worth. That what she got, that picture was a $30 box of cookies. It takes a long time, especially when you're doing fancy stuff for cookies. Okay, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I try to go leave at least four times live. I try to go live at least 4 times a week. Usually about noon Eastern time. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. Also, please leave a comment. Join us live for chat. That's the goal, to have a lively chat. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wilds, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email link to today's current live, send an email entitled subscribe. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com, and the address is also in the description. Okay, so this is my today's expectation versus reality. As you can see, Dylan, I'm mad at Dylan because she was not very nice. I ordered 2 mild sauce, 3 fire sauce, and 3 hot sauce. Normally, I don't do this, and I don't do the 3 beef tacos because I did this because my husband is home with a headache. So, and this is what I got. And I'm not happy. The mild was for me, but that's what I got. That's more sauce than I asked for, and it's not the 2 that I wanted. So yeah, not happy. Taco Bell. The thing is, our Taco Bell is new. They closed it a while ago. I can't remember when. Rebuilt the entire thing, plus rebuilt part of the building behind them. Restructured all of they now have 2 drive-throughs instead of just 1, which was a huge problem because it could be out to the road with the drive-throughs and you couldn't get out of the Taco Bell and you couldn't get into the Taco Bell. So, yeah. It's a nice new building, but it's that boring Taco Bell building, not the nice you know, not the nice, pretty exciting buildings, that boring brick and purple crap. I don't know why they ruin their buildings like that. I like the arches and stuff. So anyway, I hope this is growing pains and not something too. But I am going to complain about Dylan next time I go in. Because I got the pictures to prove it, don't I? All right. Now we have Zillow Gone Wild. Well, a real estate. Over $500,000 for 10,000 square foot home in one of the most dangerous towns in Arkansas, Helena, Arkansas. Average home value in that town is $50,000. I've actually never heard of Helena, Arkansas, so I don't know how dangerous it is. The house looks pretty nice, honestly. It's $575,000, so it's $500,000. 4 bedrooms, 5 baths, 10,000 square feet. I mean, I'm from Michigan. This looks like a normal $500,000 house, honestly. I mean, my house is worth almost that, and I have 1,400 square feet, so I actually kind of like that. The Georgian. Have some old-timey looking furniture in it. I do not like that painting. That is a very wild fireplace right there. That is a very very, very, very fancy mirror. Why you gotta be so fancy with your mirror, dude? Another abstract weird painting. Does the piano come with the house? Because I can't afford a piano. I can afford this house, but I can't afford the piano. Very modern looking kitchen. I don't like that. Like, if your whole house is like, I don't know what that style is, but old timey style. Don't have a modern kitchen in it. That's just, oh, it breaks the flow. It breaks the feel. No. Is that a register in the middle of the floor? No, I don't like that at all. Especially in the kitchen where you're dropping stuff on the floor all the time. Does this not have doors? I'm confused. Does it have a door? I don't like that. I do have these that swing out. They're really nice, though, because they got stuff in front of them. Like, ew. No, that's not how you do that. These interior inserts, they swing out, and then there's usually, well, in mine, there's shelves also behind it. It looks very much like what I have. But it also has a door that you close. Like, this is what the kitchen should look like. The whole kitchen should look like this, not like that white modern crap. Somebody's gonna have to redo that whole kitchen because they messed it up. Because everything else is not modern. Unless you want to go with the kitchen and just do modern throughout the house. Why is there a heron in your bedroom, ma'am? Not a swamp. It's a very square bath. I'm not a fan of the square bathtubs. I'm sorry. I mean, it's otherwise okay. It's got a nice antique looking furniture. I don't know if they're antiques, but they're antique looking. Like the shower. I mean, I don't like a modern shower in this antique looking sink area. I don't like that. Don't mix. No mix. If you're gonna be modern, just be modern. If you're gonna be antique, go antique. Okay, that's gotta be painted. Now, also not a fan of wallpaper because I've had to take it off before. It takes well, nowadays they have some tools that will help you, but back in the 90s they did not. It was TSP and days. And I'm not even sure you can use TSP on stuff anymore. Not a fan of that. More modern dining room table, but not the chairs. Why are you mixing like that? Ooh, I like the library. I'm gonna put something like this in our downstairs. We have finally got a room down there. We're gonna make it like a TV room. Not quite a theater room, but close. But I want, the old timey Persian rug down there so that it has that theater feel. We have plans for that room. Basement needs a ceiling. I don't know why. Well, we'll probably add-ons. Is that like a false front? Why does that look like false front? Where are the... That's weird. That is just weird. Why does it go back like that? I'm so confused. Do we have a drone of the top? I want to see what it looks like. You've even got mixed crap out here. Like, pick a theme, stick with it. That's nice. Got a interesting pool away from the house. Oh, it doesn't even have a garage. It just has carport. There's a large carport. I would be putting in the garage. Yes. Wait, I'm confused. Is that next door or is that part of the property? I am so confused right now. Oh, that looks like it's next door. I don't look how close. Oh, no. This is like right in a neighborhood. That should not be a neighborhood. All right. So What can we find out? It's 4 bedroom, 5 bathroom, 10,000 square feet. Oh, there's a lot. 5 full bathrooms. Not even a half bath. Want yourself a half bath. Gas heating, electric cooling. All the appliances come with it, except for the washer and dryer. It is a gas dryer. Has fireplace, wood burning, 10,000 livable square feet. 3 acres. It's 10,000 square foot house on 3 acres. I have 3 acres. And how is that 3 acres? Is it straight back? Because the neighbors seem awfully close. Awfully close. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. Excellent run says, good God, under six 600K for a huge house with a pool and grounds really speaks to how insanely undesirable the area is. My very modest East Coast row house cost more. Yeah. But Hustle says, I lived in Helena for a couple of years and visited again recently. It's simply losing all the people there. Something like 60% of the population less than 20 years. Huh. Hello. Flint would like a word. Your let with the planter class, generational wealth farming landowners, and a few professional class, and the people who don't have any means or desire to leave. Poverty entwined with criminal class intertwined with utter hopelessness. The infrastructure is still built out for 10 times the population without the tax base to support it. There have been a huge issue with drinking water, leaving residents without water for extended period of time. Pine Bluff Part 2? What do you mean? Try Flint. Seriously. Tawanda is smooth. Says, my husband and I stopped by there in the downtown on a road trip once and immediately left. It wasn't any kind of sense of acute danger, but it was just so empty and nothing seemed to open. The topography there is some of the wildest and most surreal I've ever seen, though with those steep hills jutting out of the ground, very different from the Mississippi side of the Delta. Pineland says that house looks like something built by a doctor, probably a specialist, who moved into town and made bank being the only one for their specialty for 40 miles around. Yeah, no kidding. Or a lawyer, or the only lawyer in town. Okay. Thank you, confession. I did not look at when I posted them today. That one sounded interesting. It said gaming literally turned me into a feral and I recovered some. So we'll go back to the last because I didn't make any extras this month, and I should have. Also deleted. Okay. Okay, here we go. I found one finally. It's from November, but who cares? Who cares, right? Confession. I try to get my coworkers to step on a scale so I can see how much they weigh. Okay, that's a weird hobby. I have a part-time job in a warehouse and a large scale flush with there's a large scale flush with the floor around it. There is a small display on the nearby wall that shows the weight currently on the scale in pounds rounded to the nearest 5. The scale is located next to the nexus of an office entrance, roll-up door, and walkway to the main warehouse floor. I begun to act on my urges to nonchalantly stand in a place that forces my passing coworkers to walk across the scale so I can discreetly glance at their weight for the short time it is displayed. The scale is safe to walk, to stand or walk or work on, so I am not endangering anyone. Young or old, male or female, familiar or not, I'm just curious. No, you're nosy. That's weird. Till naive sounds, it sounds like an episode of The Office. Oh, the second one. Boat Jumble says, I once worked at a job that had industrial scales. Once, sorry. Once you get all comfortable with each other, there's a game you might like to play. You weigh yourself before you go to the toilet, and then when you get back, it says you minus the second one. You subtract, not minus. Minus is not a verb. You subtract the second weight from the first, and the remainder is how much you've gotten lost down the pan. The person with the heaviest herd wins for the day or gets a point for legal table, depending on how you want to score it. My record was 1.1 grams. Dirty Sky says I'm working in the wrong industry. Oh, the things people do to entertain themselves is hysterical. All right. Interesting AF, and it's entitled When the Referee's Eyebrows Were Literally Frozen During the Coldest Game Ever Played in MLS History. Major. So this is a soccer game, not a football game, a soccer game. Oops. This poor guy. That looks miserable. Absolutely miserable. What about the poor players? Like, call this game already. This is too much to play soccer in. They're not dressed for that. When he asked how cold was it and where, and Goo Unit says this is from when I think it. If this is from when I think it was Denver from 3 or 4 years ago. They were there. We got about 6 inches of snow in the first half, and they were shoveling the lines on the field. We tried to stick it out, but left after 60 minutes or so. LA Dynamo said, so glad the MLS decided to go with a more European schedule. We are about to set some new records for coldest MLS match. Can't wait for a minus 10-degree game in Minnesota. Edit. Note to people pointing out the Norwegian League in winter. The season runs from April to November, similar to the current Major League Soccer schedule. The new Major League Soccer schedule is mid-July to May. Oh my, with a winter break from mid-December to early February. Yeah. I'm sorry, have you ever been in Michigan or Minnesota in mid-February? In mid-March? In mid-April? For reference, on December 6th this year, it got to -6, probably colder, but my screenshot said -6. And last week, which is mid-December, it was -16 outside. The Minnesota Stadium has no roof over the pitch, so it will be cold in the winter. Joe has pointed out that NFL games are played outside in cold conditions. This is true. However, the popularity of the NFL will still cause stadiums to sell out. I'm not sure if that's the case for northern teams in the Major League Soccer. But I'd love to watch Messi be miserable playing in -degree Fahrenheit weather, similar to how I enjoyed watching Jared play in Houston summer. I cannot playing soccer in mid-February in Minnesota or Michigan. Michigan's a lot more temperate than Minnesota because we have the lake to balance out our temps a little bit. But it still gets really cold. Early December, it can be -17. Easy. Next, we have Am I the A-hole? AITA for refusing to do free work for my kid's stepfather. I'm an electrician and a union member. I have to do a mint. I share custody of our three kids. Things are okay now, but the divorce last year was rough. She got remarried. Okay, so they haven't even been divorced a year, and she's already hooked up with somebody, and she's already married to somebody else. She got remarried in August to a guy after dating for 6 months. We'll call him Brad. That seems like a good name for him. Personal reasons. Here's where the issue kind of started. A few weeks ago, Brad was at my daughter's volleyball game saying stuff about how real tradesmen don't need to be in a union. Real tradesmen got to where they are today because of the unions, not because they don't need one. He said this right in front of me, and I was wearing a shirt with my union logo on it. He works in the trades, but just does small non-union IT data network jobs. I stayed calm and didn't bite. He's self-employed, and I know barely makes a profit. My license also allows me to do all of this kind of work at my pay rate. This morning, my ex called me out of the blue. She said a panel at one of Brad's jobs needed some work and asked if I could just swing by to check it out. She said you'd only need your tools for a few minutes. It's just a quick favor. It's not a big deal. And you would technically be working for Brad. So when my asked for a quick favor, I told her I charge everyone the same rate as per union rules. I can't just go do a side job. It's got to be done under my shop. She said, "You're really going to force this issue with my husband?" Yeah. I mean, if you're going to force this issue with anyone, it should be your ex's current husband. I told her he can just have his own subcontractors step up by paying me like everyone else does. Now she says I'm being petty and creating tension. Claiming I'm just making a stink because he lives with the kids. I told her that my professionalism isn't petty and that I don't give free labor to people who disrespect my trade. So AITA refusing to do the works for my ex's husband, even though it might make things awkward for my co-parenting relationship. No. Okay, office says NTA, if he were a real man, he would have called you himself instead of having his wife beg for a favor. I was kind of thinking that. I didn't say it. Yeah, why is the wife calling? Why isn't he calling in a professional manner? Okay, I'm not reading that one. If a real tradesman doesn't need a union, then why is he specifically reaching out to a union tradesman for help? Surely one of his many non-union pros can handle this job better and cheaper than you can. Sarcastic, not NTA. Calm Interaction says this is more of a karma-based situation and it's hilarious. My next union shirt printed would say, "Go call." so so good your wife calls me for favors. You're not your NTA brother. Enjoy that stupidity. Edit to seal the deal. Get him in your kid's size. Yes, I could be that petty. I'll be Suzanne. I gotta go make this shirt. Weirful Soul says I have a shirt that says I'm a mechanic. That means I'm the guy your wife calls when you can't bust a nut. Triggers so many dudes. Oh, it's funny. From a subreddit Overheard entitled While Playing Pool at a Bar years ago. Small bar, couple of pool tables, 15 to 10 to 15 people in the whole bar. Four guys playing on the other table. One guy kept winning and winning, making some amazing shots, running the table. One guy says, "Damn, I never knew you were this good." Pool shark bending over says, "I come in spurts." proverbial, proverbial record scratch noise stop. He looks up, springs straight up, and says with a horrified look on his face, "I meant I'm good sometimes, and sometimes I'm not. It comes in spurts." Pool play. Oh my gosh. The whole bar started laughing. He meant if he would not have panicked and just took his shot normally, his comment and his realization would have just passed. He just magnified his embarrassment by trying to explain. Needless to say, his buddies ragged on him all day long. Of course they did, because who wouldn't? I am Jack's reply says would have been smoother if he just owned the joke. And I play pool well sometimes too. Playing Rocket League last night, opponent, the ball scared me. My ball scared a lot of people. Oh. Gently discarded says better to come in spurts than in dribbles, I guess. Sitting at says sitting at the bar by the jukebox, I overheard her baby. What do you want to hear? Him. How about my balls slamming against the cheeks of your hands? Stop! Oh my goodness. W double innuendo is awesome. It really is. This is from True Off My Chest, entitled I accidentally got an email meant for a famous comedian, and answering it changed how I see myself as a father. Famous comedian. Because of that, I randomly get emails from strangers who think they're reaching out to him. I used to delete them without a second thought. One morning I woke up half asleep for some reason. I replied to one, just a short, hey, wrong person, sorry. I didn't think anything of it, but the moment struck me. A week later, another email came. This was from a college kid who was clearly going through a lot at home. I don't know what came over me, but I wrote back. Not just a correction this time. I told him some of my own story. More than I've admitted to people who actually know me. I almost deleted it, but I sent it. And he replied with something so honest and grateful, it stopped me in my tracks. He said he was feeling misunderstood by a total stranger, made him feel, yeah. He said feeling understood by a total stranger made him feel less alone and weirdly made me feel the same. Here's the part I didn't expect. That single interaction took made me look at my life differently, especially the part when I'm trying to be a steady father figure to a kid whose real dad walked away. I'm a stepdad, and I've always worried about messing it up or not enough. But helping the stranger make me realize something I've never said out loud. Maybe all the mistakes and crap I've been through are the exact things that allow me to show up for this kid the right way. Maybe I'm being the man I should have been sooner. It hit me harder than it probably should have. Sometimes redemption doesn't show up with fireworks. Sometimes it shows up in random email meant for somebody else. I just needed to get that off my chest. Good for you, guy. I hear movement outside, and I think I forgot to relock the door. Somebody was complaining about how fake it was. Dude, if it helps somebody, who cares? And I hope someday that we can help somebody like that too. Okay, this is an update one from What Should I Do? Original. Nope, they hid their posts, so you're not finding that. It's an update entitled My Brother Has Weirdly Been Kind to Me for the Past Few Weeks for No Reason and Won't Tell Me Why. And this is the update. One of my brother's friends finally cracked and told me. Apparently, my brother has been talking to this girl he really likes, and she asked him what his relationship with his family was like, and he told her the truth, that we were never close and mostly just sarcastic to each other. She basically told him that's a huge red flag for her and a guy who loves and protects his sister. So this man has been out there trying to change his personality because of he wants to impress a girl. I confronted him nicely and he got super embarrassed and admitted it. He said he wasn't trying to manipulate me or anything. He just realized that he should be a better brother anyway. And talking to her kind of made him reflect on that. Honestly, flattered or amused. Maybe all three. But at least now I know I'm not dying. He's not dying and the world isn't ending. He's still Being nice though, so maybe some good came out of the whole thing. Yeah, when you have one of those fantastic relationships with your siblings or your family or whatever, it doesn't foster friendship, it doesn't foster love. It just you can never like can you really ever trust that person or whatever? Um, I know somebody who had um run into a family like that and they just said it's just so weird and like not nice. Lazy Summer 2 says sometimes it all it takes to improve is for a romantic interest to show you how you've been wanging up. Spoken from experience, 32 female, this is not a gendered phenomenon. Yeah. Sometimes it sometimes it takes somebody else from the outside perspective to showing you, not even on purpose, sometimes even on accident, that what you're experiencing isn't normal and isn't how things should be. Mildly infuriating, entitled, It's My Fault My Daughter's Phone is Always Dead. Apparently, I don't buy chargers. However, I had to straighten her room for new window treatments and found all of these under her bed. Oh, wait. Let me go back. Let me do this a different way. There we go. Found all of these under her bed, behind her mirror, in the laundry basket, behind the dresser, and so on. But she doesn't have chargers. That's frustrating as heck. That is really freaking frustrating. I'd be so mad. Like, how many chargers? And oh my goodness, that's crazy. Ancient Fry says the power banks are just a cherry on top. Minecraft Man says AirPods blending in as a charging block. I see that now. Um, severed my severed toe says, "Is your daughter a squirrel?" And Pilcher says, "Lies, no." Pico's Chill says, "This is one of those conversations that start with, hey, Demas, look what I found." Oh, okay. Next, we have, "Am I overreacting?" And it says, I AIO, I just ended a 4-month relationship because of what he's been doing for his friend. Nah, he went to beg his girlfriend. He was on Tinder and got caught. I'm taking the blame that I created the account. And she says, don't ever lie to me like that. And he says, I'm too lazy to lie. Don't bring that friend around me either. Wait, chill. Whatever. Joe lies anyways. It's just life. I've been lied to and cheated on. And she says she's not coming in. And he says he wasn't the one that cheated. She says, you're helping him cheat, which, I mean, fair. And she says, you've never lied for a friend? No. No, never. Even growing up, you didn't cover up for one friend like one time? Helping someone lie about cheating makes me feel wanging sick. So you prefer I lie about what's going on? What do you mean? You're literally keeping a girl in a bad situation. Exactly. He loves her. She says his cheating butt. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to share this. I should have shared this. I'm sorry. He didn't wang no one. He created the scene when he was drunk as F. AF. We literally drove here with gifts and crap sitting outside her crib. This is just excuse after another. You didn't like weighing someone else. This sounds like BS to me, but I don't know your friend. All this makes me question your normalization of cheating and crossing boundaries with relationships. I don't want to trust. I want to trust you, but this is another thing that makes me hesitate. He says it's not okay to cheat and lie. Says he would be too lazy. And she says it sounds like you're trying to excuse crappy drunk behavior because it's your friend. Yeah, exactly. Don't make excuses for your friend's behavior and stop helping him. You don't have boys as friends because, yeah, that's laying up thing, but I was trying to put you on how crazy boys are. Why doesn't she have any male friends? That's kind of strange. She says, I don't keep crappy guys as friends. I call them on their crap. And he says, that's too judgy. And she says, my rapist is free because his friend took his side. What the actual Wang? What do you want me to do? Scold a grown ass man? And she says, yes. He says, this is me trying to gossip with you. I'd like to be, yeah, that's F Wanged. I'd like to be the same. I literally said he begged me, like on the floor, begging me to go with him. She says, your friend sounds like you're a loser. She says, you suck at gossiping. Did I judge or label you for being raped? Well, no, nor should you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No, drop him. Drop him like a hot potato. Drop him like a hot potato. There are more. He's still justifying that he didn't judge her. Weird. Why would you judge someone for being raped? She says, I can't lie. This is a huge red flag for me. She says, me or him. She says, your decision to help him. He says, it's not, it's just tea. And she says, it's not the tea when you're complicit to the BS. He says, I am literally flabbergasted if that's the right word. How long does this go on? I don't even know. He says he was there when he created the Tinder account. She says, wait, you were there when he made the account? Dude. He was drunk and we told him not to. What do you want me to do? Take his phone and beat him up? Well, take his phone. So he can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you should do. She says, tell him he's dealing with the consequences of his own actions. She said, we did. Says he does stupid crap when he's drunk. Maybe he shouldn't be drunk. Maybe this guy has a drinking problem. He asked why she's blaming him. She says, I'm not blaming you. I'm alarmed how sympathetic you're being. And then he goes on to he's drunk again. And then he says, I'm too high to talk. She says, again, none of this sounds good to me. He says, what's wrong with me being chill? You've met me. She says, you're driving high on your G1. He says he could drive high. You should not be driving high. He's shaming me. That's kind of crazy. She says, no, I'm glad you heard my concerns and were willing to talk. And he says, to be honest, I was trying not to get blamed. You all blame me for a lot when I'm. So I'm not sure what to say right now. I'm going to just put the phone down. I think I'll wait to see how I'm feeling on Thursday. Yes, if she did something wrong. Well, yeah, of course. He says she's upset for crap he's not even involved in. And she says, you are involved. You drove. Says, do you want him to crash and die? She says, how is that the alternative if that's his dumbass decision if he does that? Now, if you crash and die, it's going to be your decision. He says he's not listening to her anymore. And she says, "Okay, night, night." And then she ignores him for a while. She says, "Sorry, my phone didn't ring." He says, "Lie. Okay, call me. Let's talk." She says, "I'm not lying. Does you prefer scolding my ass in person or talking about it like people should?" She said, "Please just drive safe." No, this guy is weird. His friends are weird. He's weird. So I've been talking to this guy for 4 months. We had plans to see each other tonight, and I think it's completely over now because I lost it when he told me he drove his cheating friend to win back his girlfriend while high. Did I overreact? Edit. Wow, this post got a lot more attention than I thought it would. Thank you for being as baffled as I was. I was just wanting to clarify some questions I'm seeing being asked over again. How old are we? We're both 21. He's currently on a break from school and working full time. I graduated last year and working part time contract. Why The initial issue I had with his behavior was aiding his friend and lying in his significant other. I wasn't sinking in for him the gravity of how much distrust this could instill in the woman they were lying to. I was hoping that by relating the situation we had discussed before of another man covering for his friend's crappy behavior, it would help click into place at the possible consequences of his actions. He says, "What's a G1? A G1 is a driver learning permit. He's 21. He still has a learning permit. Makes everything he did extra illegal. Why did you break it off? Why did you end with just drive safe?" She says, "I was raised by a negotiator so I can manage my frustration to persevere in safety. I didn't post everything that went on in this conversation because we did discuss his health and the difficult things going on right now. These boys were currently out already engaging in reckless behavior, and regardless of what I say, he was going to drive. It's December and we're in Canada. The roads are dangerous. Yes, these guys are crap, but I don't want to hear about anyone getting a car crash at this point. My concern was making sure they got home that night. I'm staying friendly until I get my stuff back, but I won't be trying to see him again." Good. That's fine. Somebody said, "Did you actually break up with them?" It's not clear. No, it's not clear because she hasn't made it clear, but that's what she's doing. And good, she should not be around that guy. That guy's weird. Who does that? Who gets drunk and makes a Tinder profile? I mean, seriously. I don't believe him. I don't believe him for a minute. Next is best of Redditor updates, and it says AITAH for telling my brother he cannot stay with me over Christmas if he brings his prosthetic leg. What? He's bringing himself. His leg goes with him. The original post was in AITAH, and it was on December 24th, 2023. So this was 2 years ago. My younger brother has a prosthetic leg. I think it's creepy AF, and I have no idea where he got it. So he doesn't need it? I'm reasonably certain that's something I would rather not know. To be clear here, my brother has two perfectly normal, healthy legs still attached to his body. Okay. That's weird then. No, he does not need a prosthetic leg any more than my cousin needed to walk her mom's prosthetic leg down the road going, "Anybody need a leg?" That was her personality. That was her whole personality. She just has this thing he takes along with him everywhere. I don't know why. I don't want to know why. Before you ask, yeah, it's probably a mental health thing. He wanted to stay with me rather than our parents while he was home for the holidays. Nope, you're not bringing your leg. You're not bringing your leg to my house. I would probably be fine with it because I'm used to it. My aunt had a prosthesis, so it doesn't bother me like it might other people. When you get used to opening a closet and there's a leg sitting there, you kind of get used to it after a while. He said he was welcome to stay so long as he doesn't bring that thing into my house. He said he wasn't a big deal and that he would leave it in his luggage. I agreed on the condition that if I saw it out of his luggage in my home, then I had the right to destroy it. He backtracked on staying with me and is at her parents' house where he's miserable. They still treat him like a little boy instead of a guy who's almost 30. Well, don't carry around a prosthetic leg and maybe people will treat you like your age. He called me again after supper and asked please stay with me. I said he could so long as we together took his thing and put it into a storage unit until he leaves. I get the key. He won't do it. He says I'm being a bitch for not letting him stay with me. Well, he's being one for carrying around a leg. I think he needs to get therapy or on medication or both. Or a girlfriend, boyfriend, dog, cat, hamster, something, just not a cheaty prosthetic leg. Denim Horn says, I'm a prosthesis and I have to ask, what does this leg even look like? Below the knee, above the knee? Does it just have the pylon bare, or is there foam covering it so that sort of looks like a leg? Is there a foot shell on it, or is it the foot component just sort of hanging out? The reason I'm asking is because a prosthetic anything is mind-bogglingly expensive. My aunt always told people to take care of their legs because hers was like $10,000 or more back in the 70s. B, you can't just have a prosthetic leg if you have two perfectly healthy legs. Well, yeah, you can. You can. He's not wearing it, dude. You literally need a stump to make one that's specifically yours. He's not wearing it. He's carrying it around. Did your brother receive it from someone? Did he steal it? And just to be sure, it's an actual prosthesis and not a brace of some kind. I've had patients and their families make that mistake before. Oh, the OOP says it looks like a carbon fiber cup with a steel knee and a lower leg and foot. And Daniel Horn, the prostheticist says, oh Jesus, AK prosthesis are not cheap. That is an entire car right there. I would actually grill your bro on where he got it because it's 100% not his. Dude, you can pick these up in like resale shops. It's not that big a deal. If he stole it, he's looking at a felony grand theft charges. If he bought it, check his and your parents' financials because again, these things are insanely expensive. Not if they're used, not if they're from someone who passed away and didn't take their leg with them or got a new one. They're not that expensive. He's not using it. It's not something that he uses. This guy's off his rocker. Make sure he's not trying to sell it or any of its components. I get that they can be hard to get for someone who need them, but most, if the components are damaged in any way, they can lead to gnarly injuries. If you truly want to get rid of it, there are organizations out there that will take all purchases and refurbish them where they're not as expensive. A poly miss deal. Poly miss deal. An emotional support prosthetic leg. That's a new one. Yes, exactly. Fantastic morning. Her brother won it in a raffle and it came all the way from France in a crate marked fragile. The leg is actually a lamp and it wears black fishnet stockings, a black high heels shoe, and a fringe lampshade. And it's December, so that's especially. If you don't know, that's a Christmas story reference. Chris says, I know this is extremely distressing for you, but I'm laughing so hard. At first, I was like, is this AH serious? She won't let her brother bring his leg, like his whole ass leg he needs to walk on because he literally lost a leg in some horrible accident. But then you clarified both legs are attached and I lost it. NTA, but you and I are not the same. I would need to know all of it. Where did you get it? Why do you have it? What do you want to do with it? Did you steal it off a bum or something? And then I would stare at him uncomfortably until he broke and told it all to me. I may later regret my decision, but I don't think it's that far in the future when somebody catches my attention. Adventurous Revolt answered that one and says, you and I are the same. Follow-up questions. Does the person who belonged to you know you have it? Did they die? Have you named the leg yet? What's their name? What's their pronoun? Do you sleep and cuddle with it? Does it bruise you since it's not soft or cuddly? You wrap it in a blanket. I don't know. Are you in a relationship with the leg? Do you take the leg on dates? Do you bring them? Do I have them Christmas presents? Do they have a favorite type of sock? I need to know. So many questions. Betcha Face answers that one says, what is the leg's life story? For me to know it says, you're pulling my leg, right? Razmataz88 says, no, it's the left one. Twisted Elegance says, the like of inspiration of being a sexy lamp when it grows up. Another Christmas story. Update. Update on my brother and his prosthetic leg. I didn't realize how much attention this was going to get. Enough that someone informed me that the woman my brother stole it from, oh, and she was trying to figure out what happened. She called the cops and he got arrested. Don't steal the legs, people. That's not nice. That's not a good thing at all. Don't steal the legs. People need those legs. They're their actual leg. I guess he was sort of trying to do the thing where he could be the hero and track down her leg. Please don't ask me where the wang he was going through in his head. Wang was expensive enough that he's facing real criminal charges. That is all. Sorry, there's not more to tell. I mean, if he stole the leg from some woman, yeah, obviously there's not more to tell. Poor girl. Old Magic Carp says, I remember reading this originally and wondering why the hell he needed to take that leg everywhere with him. That's why. I feel like he would have returned it way sooner if he wanted to play the hero. Viper Bunny said he quite literally wanted her to come crawling to him. He wanted her to feel as vulnerable as possible so that she would need him. I was medically abused by my mom. Munchausen's by proxy, probably. Sadly, this type of behavior isn't new to me. I have gone no contact and been through therapy, and it all becomes more clear. My mom has an untreatable personality disorder. They want you to believe they are the only ones who care and the only ones who will be able to care of said person. They want them to be as helpless as possible. Sounds like he picked the wrong lady to try that crap on. I'm so glad she got her leg back. So glad. Those things are ridiculously expensive. If you find one for sale, by all means, go ahead and buy it. I mean, like in a resale shop or something, not stolen. Potential Speed says that's wild. I wonder why he wanted to bring it along with him, though. Is he obsessed with the woman and has to carry the leg with him at all times? I mean, stealing it is one thing, but why carry it around all the time? If he tried to be a hero, he could have hid it. Sounds more like a weird obsession. It does. I don't think he wanted to give it back to be the heroes. I have so many questions. I'm glad the woman will get her leg back. That's something I never thought I would say. New sentences. Sassy Piehole says this is the most bizarre update I've ever read, and I'm totally here for it. Glass Windbreaker says I didn't think I could get any more bizarre than the original post, but here we are. Original Doge Star says, at least with all that evidence, he doesn't have a leg to stand on. I'm going to see myself out. Hat, coat, door. Curly Toes Goblin says, sounds like he really answered that one. He says, sounds like he really stepped in it. New update on why I didn't let my brother stay with me if he brought his prosthetic leg November 25th, 2025. So this is a couple months ago. So it's finally over. My brother had to go to court after being charged with several crimes, the most serious being felony theft. I will just bullet point the results. Found guilty because he was too stupid to take a plea deal. Had to serve time being incarcerated, now has a parole. Managed to avoid being charged with a sexual crime. My parents paid to have the leg reconditioned or whatever it's called. A professional prosthetics device mechanic got it back in working condition. Thank goodness. The woman got her leg back as well as some money in restitution. Good for her. He is not welcome at my home with or without any prosthetics for the foreseeable future because who knows what he's going to take. The woman has a restraining order against him indefinitely, as she should, because the guy's a creep. That's all there is to tell. I hope this answers everyone's questions. Thanks for caring about this weird experience in my life. Dog Pound Ma says, okay, y'all, this is going to sound crazy, but a buddy of mine was playing in the surf about waist deep at the beach. All of a sudden, he screams like a little girl. Turns out a leg hit him in the chest. He freaked, thinking it was a body. Nope, just a prosthetic leg. He realized what it is when his brain turns back on and pulls it out to the surf beach. Of course, his son thought it was cool as heck and wanted to keep it. Now, thankfully for him, he used his brain and sent his son down to grab a lifeguard and the deputy that was on beach patrol. He did ask the deputy if they found the owner, if they would let him know that he gave them his number. A couple of days later, he got a call from a young lady who had been surfing a couple of miles further up the beach. She had a bad wipeout, and the clip that held the leg broke, and she lost the leg. Apparently, this wasn't a normal prosthetic, as it was designed for heavy athletic and water use. Yeah, that would be super expensive. She thought it was gone for good and was very expensive, as this wasn't something insurance paid for. She was thrilled to have it back, and it was being refurbished after being submerged in salt water for almost 48 hours. She and her family took my friend and his family out to dinner as a reward for finding it. That's nice. That's really nice. I'm glad they did that. They have continued to stay in touch, and she is an amazing young lady. She lost the leg due to a cancerous tumor. Now nothing slows her down, and she does everything an able-bodied person can do. Only thing is, they added another clip that ties with a 20-foot bungee cord to her safe surfboard in case it was to come off again. It would remain attached to the surfboard, and that's okay. It can remain attached to the surfboard because that's not her everyday leg. You can have your everyday leg and your sports legs. They're different legs. Stillwell says, top comment, the way this reads is that the brother had it for a while, long enough that he became known for having that prosthetic leg, long enough that his own sibling wanted it gone from their house. So he did steal it, kept for many months, then planned to return it as to the person he stole it from. Would it move on? I'm still unsure of this. Yeah. Who knows how long he had it? Uh, I'm not saying that. Somebody says, I'm convinced the biggest plot twist in Reddit history is my brother brings his prosthetic leg everywhere. Here's the thing, he has both his legs. He just carries this thing everywhere. Princess Salis says, oh, by the way, she has the personality of a Adidas sandal. For real, though, I know every goddamn one was ready to jump on her for denying a person with a missing limb their mobility aid prosthetic from the title. And she says, he has both legs fully intact and working, like the prosthetic is a purse or some shit. Oh, yeah. No, do not steal prosthetics from people. What are you thinking? And he got in real trouble. And good, good. That's what should happen. That's what should happen when you steal things. Last, finally, we have Made Me Smile. And it said a fellow Redditor sent me a GTX 180 Ti for my internet gaming project in Yemen. Shipping took 3 months. Totally worth it. And it's just a picture of a very happy guy. Very happy guy in Yemen. It's a happy holidays. That's nice. Oops. Forgot to stop sharing. Big shout out to Working Traffic. Thank you for your patience. Shipping to here is very difficult. That's why almost all couldn't do it, but you stayed positive, and for this and all the FPS, we are grateful. That's the OP said that. And oh, the sender says, Working Traffic says, thanks for the shout out. I can't believe it took so long to get to you. I hope you guys had lots of fun with it. Edit. Thanks for everyone's kind words and awards. I hope you have a great time during the holidays. Never stop being kind to each other, no matter what the world tried to break your spirit. And Kwani Stunt says, you are all that is right with this world. Thank you for bringing joy to others. Yeah. Working Traffic, you are the man. You are the man. All right, that's all I got for today. I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, everyone. Have a good evening. Love you, my biddies. Bye. Bye, biddies. Love you. Bye.